All right, guys. Fulu coming to you with another commentary. Um, for those of you guys who don't know, like everything goes down on Clubhouse, basically. Gender wars, diaspora wars, and also like inter-ethnic gender wars. Um, so in one particular conversation, you know, what was happening was, you know, I was just talking about the Pookie and Ray Rays. So these, these Somali women come along, and while I was explaining like Pookie and Ray Ray, they basically, they called me an incel for me telling it how it is and stuff like that, and calling me like all types of names. But I just like, kept it solid, kept it a buck. You know what I mean? Because I'm pretty sure they're under the feminist influence. But what I want to look at is two things. I want it straight from the horse's mouth, and then I want to look at what the divest movement is. Because what's happening now is like you have a lot of black women, and the crazy thing is it's mostly like the American black women too. You have a lot of American black women, but you also have some Caribbean and some continental African black women pushing divesting, talking about they should divest from all black men and stuff like that. They're pushing this movement. You know what I mean? What I want to look at is to see if divesting is really something that is conducive and beneficial to a woman. But first, I want to look at something that a woman said that something I want to listen. I want to look at something that a woman admitted to. Okay, but let's go ahead, and this is coming from someone who supports and understands Kevin Samuels, where he's coming from, and then I'll look at it.
Learn about crypto and get paid as you learn with Coinbase Earn. We've paid out over.
How gets older
is not completely represent. Okay, I may catch a little bit of heat for this, but I'm just going to keep it real. Before you make a decision about Kevin Samuels, I think you need to watch more than just his.
By the way, the only thing I disagree with the Kevin Samuels thing, this is the only thing I disagree with, is the whole high value man thing. That's the only thing in which I disagree with. But the rest of the stuff, I can see his points. I can see why he's making those points, But just the high value thing is the only thing I disagree with. But let's continue.
Viral videos that basically is not completely representational of what his body of work is about. Having said that, I have watched most of his videos, and there are some things that he talks about that resonate with me, that I agree with, and I'll tell you why. I grew up in a very matriarchal family.
And that's another thing that these black women are pushing, and that's another thing that some of these African feminists are pushing too, is this matriarchal bullshit. And we're going to see why it's bullshit in a moment.
My mom was a ball buster. She didn't really like men that much, and as a result, my father just tried to stay out of her way. And
in essence, she was the man of the house, and the father was subservient to her personality, her mood, and her just general overall disdain for men.
Was very in the background. And as a result, I didn't have a very strong father figure to help me navigate how to find a good mate or a husband.
And that's what a father is gonna do. A father is gonna get if he really genuinely cares about his daughter's welfare, and the father himself has been married for a long time, he's generally going to look out for his daughter's best interests. He's generally not going to put her in a situation where he's like, dang, I done effed up with who I decided that she should be married to. He's generally not going to do that.
Now, there were 4 daughters in my family, and all of us failed miserably at, relationships.
Because probably what happened is her mom thought that she can, like, her mom probably implanted ideas into her head about like what type of man they should be looking for. And her mom probably also told them that, they were like better than men and stuff like that. And so that's what happened.
And we had children out of wedlock.
There you go. So a lot of times, and this is one thing that, like, unfortunately Africans get into, like some of these Africans, and me being an African myself, excuse the plane, let me wait for this plane to get by real quick. I'm outside right now. What some of these Africans do, unfortunately, some of these Africans have a feeling of, like, it's not Stockholm syndrome, but it's white is right syndrome, where they think that, like, the majority of white Americans, like, they're married. They think that the majority of them are married. They think the majority of them are having families. They think the majority of them are happy families and stuff like that. As a matter of fact, one of the arguing points in TikTok is that, at least white women and white families, at least they marry amongst each other. Not necessarily true, as we see.
We were all single mothers. So there's that. Now, what Kevin Samuels is trying to talk about is, like, if you were to focus on being a mother and starting a family earlier in life, you can always, pursue your education or, whatever else you want to do after you've started your family. A lot of people do that.
And that's correct. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was going to college, I knew plenty of women who had husbands who were still pursuing their education. I met one woman from Senegal. She was married and she was in school, like, pursuing her education. She had her husband and everything. I met another woman from Burkina Faso. She was married. She was still pursuing her education and what have you. I met a lot of them that were in that state of mind. I met one from Sudan, and these were just colleagues of mine who were, like, taking some of the same classes I was taking. So it is possible, but they don't look at it as such. And to be honest, with those women, they were way more grounded, way more chill than the ones who were just happy-go-lucky, feminism, matriarchal bullshit,
And when I think back on what my life would have been like had I found a good mate to have children with, I wouldn't have had to raise my kids alone. They would have had a father in the household. Life would have been a lot easier.
And that's the thing. Like, that's one thing that we have to realize, that, when it comes to a man, he's actually when it comes to a man, right, and a man starting a family and stuff like that, he's actually taking on, like, shouldering, like, more of responsibility, because 9 times out of 10, a woman, like, when a woman, like, talks about, they need a husband and things like that, the husband is really there to be their helper, really, most of the time. you would hope that she would contribute to that husband's ambitions, and that husband being able to create more opportunities for himself and everything like that would contribute to the family. But a lot of the times, like, she's just basically the happy wife, happy life type, You see that she said she would have had a better, easier time if she had a husband.
And have you noticed that families that, stay married a long time and then they have children, they tend to be married for a long time, and then the next generation and so on? And have you noticed that families that come from like a single mother household tend to have kids that are also single mothers who also have kids that are single mothers? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it's a cycle. It's a cycle, and luckily for me, I came from a father and a mother. My father had 2 wives, if you know about the channel. And he held it down with both of them. And I was fortunate to have both of the parents in the house, and my mentality is the same thing. Like, I'm not gonna have no kids out of like wedlock. And if that makes me an incel, that makes me an incel, but I'm not gonna do that. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm gonna invest in a woman, you know what I mean? Like, she's gonna be my wife, and we're not gonna do what's common here. We're gonna go against the grain, you know what I mean? Because the bigger picture is more important, you know what I mean?
There's a reason for that. Girls need their father, and they need their father in the home, and they need their daddies to help them find a good man.
Well, here's one thing about it too. I'm gonna say this. You do hear stories about like guys like doing bad things to their daughters. You do hear that. But naturally, men have like a protective nature when it comes to their daughters. Men like their daughters, you know what I mean? Like, for the most part. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I used to coach track, right? Part of track coaching is you had different kids. You had boy kids and you had girl kids. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm guarded. Just as a general rule, I'm guarded. Nobody knows what I'm thinking. People always try to figure me out and stuff like that. But believe it or not, kids can see through that crap. Kids are intuitive. They see through that. They know who's under the armor. And so the girls on the track team knew who was under the armor, and you developed a soft spot for those girls. And it got to a point where those girls were, if I missed one day of practice, maybe I had to run errands or something, and I couldn't be at practice, those girls would ask and sometimes cry that I wasn't there, because most of them some of them unfortunately had single mothers, stuff like that. Most of them have father figures in their life. But I came in as a secondary role. As a coach, I became like that uncle, basically. You know what I mean? That's why some of them called me uncle. So, by nature, men, we care. It's not what's advertised. You know what I mean?
And being a single mom sucks. It's hard. It's not fun.
Well, sorry to hear that, but you know, feminists are pushing it, and I want to say, you know, other groups are pushing it. Simps are encouraging it too. Like, simps think that they can come in with their cape and save the day. Like, that's what's happening too. A lot of the times, these simps think they can come in and like just save the day, and it's not gonna work like that, you know?
And it's not fair to the kids. And Kevin Samuels points to that, and I think it's valid. I do.
So shout outs to Rubo's mom for that one. And everything she said is spot on. You know what I mean? And this is coming from a white woman. So like, that's one thing that those Somali women were saying. Oh, at least white people marry each other. Not all the time. Okay, it's quite common that they don't marry each other. You know, but let's continue. So, you know, it's crazy because I guess I'm a little bit more energized right now because I just got out the boxing gym. You know, I just did I think we did like 15 rounds of sparring. So I'm just like kind of like in my zone right now. So I'm just using this momentum I got from my boxing to keep on going. You know what I mean? It's actually a combination of things. It's boxing and a book I'm reading. You know, that kind of like opened up the equilibrium, you know what I mean, this morning. But anyhow, the talking point was with these women were, and this going on Clubhouse, you have a lot of these women who make these divest rooms, and I'm not bothered by it. I don't care. You know, frankly, I really don't care. You know, do what you do. You know, I'm not tripping off of it. But what I am asking, because they have they talk about like how Italian men are treating their black women good, how how white men are treating their black women good. So they're having all these talking points and stuff like that because I guess they're pro swirlers as well. But let's really ask ourselves, is divesting always good? Is divesting always going to be something that, you know, is praised? Because you have ghetto gaggers and you have this story that I'm about to show you. And you guys probably heard about it, but let's get into it.
My credit score has gone up 60 points.
To find justice for Kathleen and for her family.
A tragic update to the search for a missing Bay Area woman.
So that's the woman right there. You know, that's the woman.
Pasco County Sheriff says Kathleen Moore is dead and her accused killer is locked up.
So that was the killer of her.
Bay Area woman. Pasco County Sheriff says Kathleen Moore is dead and her accused killer is
So there's Chad right there, you know.
Locked up. No one has seen or heard from the 34-year-old Pinellas County woman in nearly 8 days. Good evening, I'm Jennifer Lee.
And I'm Keith Kate. Thank you for joining us tonight. Her boyfriend, Colin Knapp, is charged with her murder this evening. News Channel 8's Justin Shecker is live at the Pasco County Jail. Justin, they made this arrest without finding the body.
They did, Keith and Jen. Good evening to you both. Investigate.
So, I mean, that's one thing that's crazy, too, is like they couldn't even find the body of the woman, you know what I mean? So he did a number on her, you know? He masterminded this crap.
Say they built their case against 30-year-old Colin Knapp with blood evidence and his inconsistency.
Now, I want you guys to hear something that he just said. Key point. I want you to listen to this. There's one key point I want to make. When black women talk about divesting and stuff like that, they're usually talking about divesting after being ran through and after having kids and after being out of their prime. For example, he was 30 years old, she was 34 years old, so she was out of her prime. You know what I mean? So usually you have to look at who is talking about divesting, because I guarantee you, if you get like a young girl and stuff like that, like you get a girl who's in her 20s or something like that, that's not going to be on her mind. You know what I mean? Her what's going to be on her mind is like looking at Pookie and Ray Ray, who's black. In to Kevin Samuel's point, like non-black men are not coming in drones for black women. But let's continue.
Statements from speaking with friends, coworkers over at Whiskey Wings in St. Pete and her family, it's clear a lot of people in this community care deeply about Kathleen Moore.
And I'm really going to miss her very, very much. I love her with all my heart.
In the days since her daughter's disappearance, Kathleen Moore's mother says she feared the worst.
I had that gut feeling. It's like a mother's instinct, and you just know when you don't, when you can't sense your child's spirit.
Karen Moore learned this missing persons case became a homicide investigation hours before Pasco County Sheriff Chris Naco announced,
We've arrested Colin Scott Knapp with second-degree murder.
Photographed together
So as you see, you know, as you see in the picture,
days ago on Thanksgiving.
As you see in the picture, you see him, you see Chad, and you see her. And the thing is, what these women try to do is they try to say that the creme de la creme of men, that's what black women are divesting to. They say that the creme de la creme of like non-black men is the ones who are taking them on. You know, but the thing is like, honestly, it from what we see mostly is you see black women going for these lower tier non-black men and not making them work as hard, you know.
Moore's on and off again boyfriend now sits in the Pasco County jail.
Okay, on and off. Keyword on and off again boyfriend. So this was already growing up. So this goes to show you that what they're pushing, that the grass is not necessarily the greener on the other side. And what they're doing is they're trying to like tell you that these non-black men roll out the red carpet, or excuse me, the blue carpet for these black women. That's what they're trying to like let you know, that like the grass is greener on the other side. They do these things for you and what have you, but this is not the case at all, you know.
Says Colin Knapp isn't cooperating with the search to find her body.
Right now, you have an opportunity.
He doesn't even want to give up the body, you know.
To do something positive when you had done so much evil. Please share with us right now where Kathleen is.
After leaving with Knapp from a friend's house in Largo, Moore vanished in the early morning hours of Monday, November 29th. Through their investigation, the sheriff says detectives learned Knapp put clothing in the dumpster at the Port Richey Harold Seltzer Steakhouse where he works. During a painstaking search of the county...
So mind you, his place of work, a steakhouse, right? Keep in mind that that Chad or whoever can work at a lower tier place, like at a restaurant or something like that. But like Tyrone or whatever the case may be, he must work at a six-figure job. He must work as like or he must deal drugs that make like six figures. He must be like a kingpin that's worth six figures. But the requirement is minimum for a Chad. You know, Chad has to do less than like say Tyrone. You know what I mean? I don't tell women what I do. You know, to be honest, if a woman asks me what I do, I don't tell them. You know, I don't tell them what I do. I don't even really talk to women. And granted, you know, when they called me the incel, I just kind of laughed, because the thing is, if I was out here, you know, I could have a field day. But the bottom line is, I don't want to put my energy towards like Western women. I'd rather put my energy towards boxing and just building up my assets, you know what I mean, and working on my craft. You know, I'm like into like, because Sheikh Anta Diop said something very, Sheikh Anta Diop said something that resonated with me a lot, and I take it to the bank with me. That man, in order for man to survive, he must create. So that's why you see me creating my content on YouTube. That's why you see me doing these edits on YouTube. That's why you see me like making my beats. That's why you see me doing these things. It's because like I took that word to the bank. So if I wanted to, you know, if I wanted to like make the effort to like go for Western women, I would. But like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't need to, because I already like, I can get an arranged marriage, you know, it's not a big deal. So that's why I'd rather just get an arranged marriage than mess with a Western woman. And believe it or not, arranged marriages last long, bro. If the two people hit it off, and I'll do a video about that later, arranged marriages last long, man. But back to my point, he worked at a steakhouse. You know what I mean?
Deputies found his blood-stained clothing they sent to the FDLE lab.
So yes, there was some blood evidence that was identified as hers on our suspect's pants. However, there's lots of blood that was located during this investigation.
Deputies say that blood and other DNA evidence, along with inconsistent statements by Knapp, led to the probable cause for his arrest. The sheriff's office is sharing these photos of Knapp's Cadillac and truck as investigators continue seeking tips from the public.
The most important reason to find the body is for the family.
Moore's mother tells 8 on Your Side she wants her daughter to be remembered for her bubbly and outgoing personality.
I truly believe that we all in life have to take a journey, you know, and I just wish that Kathleen's journey didn't stop where it did.
And the suspect, Colin Knapp, has a lengthy criminal history since 2004. Sheriff Nacco says he's previously been arrested for aggravated assault and domestic violence. Tonight, Knapp has requested an attorney as he sits behind bars here at the jail.
So again, when they talk about this divesting and stuff like that, these women aren't choosing the top guys. They're choosing Chads, you know what I mean? And so, you know, that's the thing. When a woman is talking to a guy, you know what I mean, and she's talking about, oh, you guys don't do this and you guys don't do that, she's not gonna tell you everything, bro. Like, it's gonna require some digging yourself. It's gonna require you to go like that extra mile in order for you to find out, okay, what's behind this? You know, because I'm telling you already that the creme de la creme of white dudes are not going to really be with black women. Like, you look at even celebrities, like you look at Jeff Bezos, he didn't have no black woman. You look at Steve Jobs, he didn't have no black woman. You look at who else? Let's go to some celebrities. Only a few celebrities have black women, but not many. But you go to, you know, Johnny Depp, he didn't have no black woman and he's still going through it. You go to, you know, Brad Pitt, you know, he didn't have no black woman. You go to, who else? I'm trying to think of more celebrities. You go to, yeah. Let me think of another celebrity who I can name. Let me think. Who's a known celebrity that's like a white dude and people like, and people are saying who's a heartthrob? Oh yeah, George Clooney. You know, George Clooney don't got no white black woman. And the thing is about it is that when it's all said and done, sometimes the ones who do have black women are getting divorces. You have that one woman, Gracel something, she used to be on Jamie Foxx. Her white husband is divorced from her. I don't know who initiated the divorce. You have Halle Berry, her white husband got divorced from her too. Like, so this is the thing. But let me find one more story. There's one more.
While he refuses to cooperate with investigators as they try to bring Kathleen Moore's body home to her family. We are live tonight in Pasco County.
Let me see. There's one more I want to go to. One more. Okay, let's see. Okay. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Let me see. Okay, I think this is it right here. Okay, let me see.
Isn't it time?
Let me see. Okay, let me see. Looking for it real quick. Okay. Okay. All right, let's go to this.
Make your holiday celebration doubly special with tender king crab legs from Ralph's. Fresh for everyone.
Order up, dig in, and dine on. You don't need a reason.
This guy was one of her clients. He was paying for her services.
Alright, y'all. Welcome back to Industry.
Alright, let's see.
See, a lot of y'all in the comment section
had already fell in love with her.
Okay, here, let's see.
Her in the upright here. She actually, what I guess they do as individuals that have clients. It's just what I guess they do as.
basically she was doing damage control as soon as the situation happened, because I believe, and which we gonna get into a little bit later, that the sister already knew about Kevin. She already knew what her sister was doing and what she was into. The parents may not have known, but she known. Let's keep it going.
There was no truth in what she was feeding him. It's just what I guess they do as individuals that have clients. You've got the emperor in the upright here. She actually thought that she was in control of the entire situation. However, this guy was and had already fell in love with her.
Not trying to blame her, but at the same time, you can't play with people's feelings. You can't play with people's money, because things happen.
This was not.
Let me see.
I don't know if they dated or not, but you could read his caption, right? His is a friend of hers. I don't know if they dated or not, but you could read his caption, right? His caption, basically, I'm gonna sum it up, saying that she had a boyfriend. That's why he was distant from her, and they wasn't really hanging out like that. So, is it starting to make sense to y'all people?
So it looks like she was playing around, and she was divesting with who she was playing around with. Hold on, let me see. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay. So she was finessing a guy. She was finessing a guy, I guess. So that's what happened.
We keep her private. Nobody, not even.
You say you keep her private? She got 2.7 million.
Okay.
Which is even more hurtful.
Okay,
oh!
Here we go.
Drives people crazy. She probably just wanted to pay her bills, get her bills through, her car note paid.
Okay, here we go.
You start to feel safe. Like, oh, it worked the first time. That guy was cool. Oh, it worked the second. It worked the 50th
So
time.
you see that, like, she even, so when they're pushing this divesting thing, what I'm trying to say is that, hold on, this truck, let this truck get by.
But what happened?
So when they push like divesting, right? When they push this like agenda and things like that, what they're doing, like what they're essentially doing is they basically know that, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything, but they know that, like, say if you get an African man or like a Caribbean man, like, they're gonna like put their foot down. You know, they're gonna put their foot down and they're gonna set rules and boundaries. You know what I mean? Whereas if, like, with divesting, what they mean by really, what they really mean when they say, oh, like, white dudes are real men and stuff like that, what they really mean is that a white dude will cater to her shopping habits, her nail habits, and things like that. That's what they mean. You know what I mean? Hold on, something happened. But that's what they're talking about. They're not talking about like actually finding like a sincere relationship. And then what those two sisters did, they also pulled out, oh, that interracial marriages last longer. But I mean, let's look at one more thing and then I'll end it. I did this one before, I think. Let's see real quick. Okay, let me see. Okay. Okay, let me see real quick and then I'll end it. Okay, let's take another one. This happened 2 years ago, though.
And you could just hateful to your parents to say not something at all to gloat over because
Okay, let me see.
sister to leave.
And there's a lot of this.
Countries, non-black countries they're in also, but for punishment, because I know if that's how it is what it is. So a Texas mother allegedly covered her daughter in blankets and pillows. So this dude was watching all of that, because that's a little bit of a task.
So long story short, non-white, non-black boyfriend, black woman, has baby too dark, suffocate that baby. But this is divesting, though. This is what they're showing, divesting, you know. Here's another one too. This is a perfect example right here. I mean, I have so many examples of these divestors. Like, for example, I'll give you one more example in my personal life. I never courted this woman. You know, I just met her because I was like, I would often, like, you know, I would be at a Starbucks when I was like doing it. Like, one thing if you don't know me, one of my favorite things is just to grab a coffee and work on my laptop. You know, just do business on my laptop, do spreadsheets for my business, do like calls with clients for my business. And I like to do that at Starbucks because like it's just kind of like getting out the house, right? It's just getting out of the house and stuff like that. But one thing you see, like when you're outside in Starbucks and stuff like that, is you do see like different types of women and stuff. So there was this black Brazilian woman, and she kind of just sat by me and stuff like that, and you know, she started talking it up and stuff, and we formed a relationship. You know, we formed a relationship, and like me, I didn't try to pursue her. You know, I just said I'll friend zone her. You know what I mean? Like that's how I do it. But she was only, it wouldn't have mattered if I tried to pursue her anyway. She was into white dudes. She was into white dudes anyway. So what happened is one day she calls me up and stuff like that, crying. She calls me up crying, and I say like, okay, what's up? What's going on? What's the problem? You know, she talks about how she had an abusive like time with her then boyfriend. I think her boyfriend hit her or something like that. And you know, unfortunately, I said that's not my problem though. Like I said, that's really not my problem. Like I'm busy right now. Can I call you back later? You know what I mean? I did that because at the end of the day, like, that's what you chose, you know? Nobody told you to choose that. You know what I mean? And as a woman, like, women claim that they're smarter than men, but if you can't read the hazard signs before you get into something, I can't help you, you know?
Most of you have. It ended up with her. Is that the point of ridiculous? Women in our community don't have a man.
Right,
because you want
to. Okay, let me see. Shit. Let me see this.
Peace and blessings. They're the original Jews, but they can't stand it. I'm not saying that we aren't also, but I'm just saying that's how the Ethiopians will get into Israel, because Israel's supposed to allow all the Jews, and they shut the Ashkenazis up by showing them, actually, yo, dudes, we're the real Jews and you're not. Right? And they're never gonna, and they know they've stolen our identity completely, because they're not Semites. Folks are just, and so they're not gonna see, they don't care that, if anything,
So, I mean, I'm gonna just end it right there, because this is kind of going on. But you see that, for example, 19-year-old student, she swirled in Israel and she drowned in Israel. You know what I mean? So this is what's happening. You know, they talk about divesting, but you know, what's your cost at the divesting? But yeah, man, that's just my point. You know, at the end of the day, and I'm just gonna end the video on this note. Us African men are still winning, you know, regardless. If we're on our square and we're doing our things, us African men, our options are gonna be plenty. You know what I mean? Our options are going to be plenty. They can divest if they want to. I really don't care. But divest at your own cost. That's what I'm going to say. But anyhow, Fool is signing out. Leave your thoughts, like, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be back with another one. Njarama.